last weekend. You get the first shutout of the season for the Falcons on that first night, and the first shutout for Christian Stover. Kind of just what was the mentality for going into that second night?
Well, obviously, getting the shutout for our team and for Christian was really positive, and we felt like we played pretty good. And when you win on Friday, obviously you want to win on Saturday, and you feel like that's what you should do. As we know, it's difficult to do. We feel like for the most part on Friday we played really well, and we chased their starting goalie out, and the other guy came in and he did a nice job, and we took a long time to score on him on Saturday. So talking to some of the guys after the trip, not sure if they were tired. They were. We had a couple guys not feeling their best, but really no excuses as to. We were trying to figure out the why. You don't think you're going to win 6-0, 6-0. Like that just doesn't happen very often. And after the fact, we felt like we certainly gave away an opportunity to start the game better because, as you know, we started on a power play. They had a protocol penalty where somebody didn't get off the ice in time for warm-ups, and that was a really good opportunity for us to start on a positive. We score early, and maybe Ferris doesn't even get into the game. But the first period was a little back and forth, and our mentality was, hey, this is a big game for us, an opportunity to sweep a team on the road and get more points in the CCHA, and unfortunately we couldn't do it.
Yeah, you talk about that second game and just the consistency between the two games just wasn't fully there. It seemed like on the ice. Kind of what were you guys working on throughout these past 2 weeks to kind of get ready now for Lake Superior State?
Having last week off, we feel like both mentally and physically was a positive for our guys. We've talked a lot to our guys and talked a lot about the why, and we knew going up to Ferris it wouldn't be easy. It's never easy to go. I don't care who you're playing or what their record is. It's never easy to go sweep a team. You see it every weekend in college hockey. Somebody wins by this score on Friday, and you can't figure out how Saturday happened or why Saturday happened. So we had a couple days of practice last week and focused on our effort and our energy. Gave the guys a good break, and then yesterday and today so far we've tried to get back to all right. Here's who we are. Here's what we do. A little bit of reintroducing some of the things that we value, and hopefully have 3 practices here in Bowling Green that are really good, and then go up to Lake Superior on Thursday, have a good practice there, and then get ready to play Friday.
And then, you look at that freshman line with Brett Foe, of course, getting his first collegiate goal on Friday, and then 2 assists from Jaden Grant and Quinn Emerson. Are we kind of looking to see that line once again this weekend, trying to get that speed and aggression up front?
Yeah, they were around the offense all night on Friday. They did a really nice job, and they've had some real good games where they were doing things right and playing the game the way we want them to play, and they've all got certain attributes that really allow them to play well together, and when they're doing the right things, they're a good line, and we expect them to continue to do that.
And of course, Nathan Burke, of course, scoring both nights. He scored at least one goal in the past 5 games you guys have played. Kind of what's that do for the lines and then the offense for the Falcons?
Yeah, Nathan's a guy who led our team in scoring last year, and everybody knows that. And he started slow, and he was gripping it a little bit, and he was maybe a little bit frustrated, but it's really nice to see him get back on the score sheet and get some goals, because I know that'll do a lot. We all know that'll do a bunch for his confidence, and then if we can get some more guys like Nathan going, it was nice to see as many guys get involved in the score sheet on Friday. Unfortunately, we couldn't keep going, but really good to see Nathan doing what he's doing.
You mentioned Nathan Burke kind of maybe a little slow start to the year, and then you guys went on that 4-game winning stretch. Just how did his maybe start to kind of come into the season contribute to that turnaround?
Yeah. Like I said, Nathan's a guy that, based on his junior hockey career and then his history with us last year, he's been around the offense a bunch. And, a lot of times you come into your, this is his 5th year, but his last year of college hockey, and you put some pressure on yourself, and you think not that it's going to come easy, but it's expected. And when it doesn't happen, you start to get a little frustrated. And we asked Nathan to just keep working, keep doing the things he's doing, and he scored Nathan Burke type goals, which are good. And he could have had 3 in the first period on Friday. So that just means he's involved, and his line with Taylor Schneider and Alex Barber was around the offense, and we're creating opportunities, which is all we really ask our guys to do. We know it's hard to score goals, but we ask them to try to create as many grade A opportunities as they can as a line. And then, some nights you're going to get bounces and some nights you're going to finish around the net and other nights you're not, but you want to be in this situation where you're creating those opportunities.
Definitely. And kind of looking back a little bit back in the season, you guys went on a little bit of a losing stretch with that Michigan State, Western Michigan, and Minnesota stretch, and then rebounded for that 4-game win streak, which led to that turnaround there and finding that consistency as you go throughout the rest of the season.
It's probably a few things. It's we played a real, right now I checked yesterday and we played the 14th most difficult schedule in college hockey, and so we played, of our 7 opponents, 5 are ranked or have been ranked. So it's been a difficult stretch of games, especially early, those first 8. We knew the first 8 would be difficult, and then you played 6 of those first 8 on the road, and then you also had some guys get hurt. We were without Zach Rose for a little bit, and without Eric Parker for a little bit, without Anton Malmstrom. So you're playing good teams on the road and you're not 100% healthy, and then you don't play great either. The other team plays really well and you don't play great. That's not a recipe for success. But to our guys' credit, they stayed with it, and so we try to break the season into segments, 8-game segments. And so the first segment we were 2-6, and that's not something we want to be. And the second segment now we're 4-2 and feel like we could have won each of those games, so we could be 6-0. But again, we want to finish this segment this weekend good, and so now if we can put that first segment away and have a good second one, and then it allows you to build into the third one.
And how much is it maybe like having a little bit of short-term memory loss of forgetting about the first segment, focusing on where you're at now, and then maybe not looking too far ahead to the next game?
Yeah, some of the older players, we talked to them last week before practice on Monday, and one of them brought that up. There's really nothing we can do about the games that we played. The 14 games we played, we own them. They're our record. That's who we are. We can only focus on trying to get ready for Friday up at Lake Superior and play as well as we can on Friday, and then we'll try to do the same thing on Saturday. So trying to keep things in perspective and focusing on having good Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays leading into the weekend. That's really all we can do.
And obviously you don't want to look past the Lake Superior State, but you mentioned just the tough schedule that you had to start the year, and you have Minnesota State and Ohio State looming. Just how does having that difficult schedule in the first segment kind of help as you go into this?
Well, when we knew, if you're talking about Mankato State, they've had the most wins in college hockey over the last 10 years. They've been the standard in our league, whether you're talking about the CCHA, the WCHA. So we knew going up to Mankato was going to be difficult. They were just coming off of a sweep, which was the first time they'd been swept in 5 years, and so we knew that they were going to be on point. And we actually played pretty well with a shorter roster, lost in overtime, and then we're 2-2 going into the third on Friday. So from that perspective, we did go up there and get a point, and our guys had some success and did do some good things. So we'll try to focus on that, and then if we're healthier next weekend, and now we're at home, the goal will be to try to play as well as we can and get as many points as we can out of that series. And then you finish the first half with Ohio State, which we all know is a big deal around here, to have Ohio State come to our campus and play, and then for us to go down there. And it's always been a really good rivalry in terms of the attendance and a healthy rivalry in terms of Bowling Green and Ohio State, and mutual respect between the two programs. But it's really, it comes with a lot of fun. The crowd, the building will be packed, and the crowd will be into it. So I know that our guys will be excited to play Ohio State.
Just in general, after the break, how does Zach Rose look?
He's practiced 2 days in a row, which is positive. We're I think I've said it before, we're trying to take things day by day, and I talked to him yesterday, and he said he felt good, but he felt sore, which is really the crux of the issue. Is he's sore, and managing that. There's really not a lot we can do in terms of he can ice and he can do certain things, but the pain is such that it's just his tolerance to that. But he looks good in practice and has practiced well. Our hope is that when we leave Thursday morning, he's on the bus and he's going to be a part of our goaltending situation this weekend.
And you mentioned Eric Parker and Anton Malmstrom. Just how has their defense accommodated without those key players?
We've had to, going into the year, when you're healthy, you have 15 or 16 forwards and you have 4 goalies and you have 8 defensemen and you're trying to figure out, all right, how much is this guy going to play or that guy? And you're trying to figure out, are there certain times of the year that we can, get this guy a start in net or get this guy into some games to see where they are. And ultimately, a lot of our guys who we weren't sure how much they would play up to this point have played some significant minutes for us and a fair amount of games because of the injuries. And so, when you're down Anton and you're down Eric, 2 guys that have played a bunch in their couple of years here, that certainly creates opportunities for guys like Dalton Norris and Jack Blake, and then you have your transfer guys that have come in, Zach Vanell and Hunter Lelig have played a lot. Max Coyle's played a lot. Ben Wozznie's played a lot. So it does put some stress on some guys that, in a perfect world, we don't want anybody to play. We don't want any 2D to play 6 or 8 or 10 minutes more than anybody else. We'd like that to be a little more even. And when we got Eric back for the last series there, it was nice to see it balance out a little bit. But yeah, when you're without those 2 guys, you're certainly not, you don't feel like you're at your full potential, but that happens during the course of the year.
And focusing on the Lake Superior series, assuming that you have seen some video of the guys, what kind of play does Lake Superior play?
When they're at their best, they're a team that is hard to play against. They're well coached and their systems are good. They typically don't beat themselves and they typically have real strong goaltending. They've got a couple forwards who haven't started out, a little bit like we were talking with Nathan. They haven't started out the way I'm sure they or their coaching staff anticipated they would. Louis Boudon comes to mind. I mean, he's a guy that was second team all league last year, was in the running for player of the year, and a very, very good player. And Percelli and Roy and some other guys that have had good careers at Lake Superior State just haven't got going yet. And in watching them on tape, they've had some close games. They've played well. Typically, they have really good goaltending. So we're anticipating, just like we did last week going up to Fair State, we're anticipating them being ready to go, being excited to play at home. They had a tough road series last weekend at St. Thomas, so I'm sure their coaches will have their full attention in practice this week, and it wasn't a very enjoyable bus ride home. All those kinds of things. But we know that our league has proven that, it doesn't matter who you are or where the preseason rankings were or what your record is right now, you have to be prepared to play. And if you take your foot off the gas a little bit, it's going to end up biting you.
Peter, any questions?
Yeah, you touched earlier on the offense, which is a subject I wanted to dive into a bit. You guys are averaging 27 shots a game, which I'm sure you'd like to be a little higher. Usually you want over 30. What do you attribute, the lack of shots or scoring chances to? Is it puck retrieval? Is it not getting the chances off the rush? Is it transition, or is it defense not getting pucks up to the forwards?
I think it's a little bit of everything you mentioned. If you look at of the 14 games we've played so far, we felt like offensively we were really good at Northern Michigan. Created, scored 10 goals on the weekend. Knowing that you're probably not going to maintain that. Scoring 10 goals is difficult in a weekend. And then the next weekend we had some real good opportunities the first night in Lansing, and then the next night didn't get as many opportunities in a 2-1 game there. That the opportunities we didn't get had to do with us not getting to our forecheck against Michigan State, and their goaltender, as you guys know, St. Cyr, did a great job playing any dump pucks, and he really didn't allow us to get to our forecheck. Same thing happened against Western. When we can get to our forecheck and turn people around and get opportunities off the forecheck and create second and third opportunities, then we're at our best. And we didn't forecheck great against Western Michigan, and that had a lot to do with how well they played. So our numbers went down for a couple weekends in a row. And then Mankato, first night was pretty good. Second night, not as good, but we were hanging in there. And then I think since then it's improved, and we're creating a little bit more, and we're averaging. We want to be, like you said, Peter, we want to average 10 or more shots a period and get to that 30 plus mark. And you want to be at 60 to 75 attempts and try to get upwards of 15 to 20 grade A opportunities. So it starts with all the things. We got to get back and break out clean, and we've got to make good decisions in the neutral. And then if we can't get to our forecheck, we're a forecheck team and we're an effort-based team, and when we don't do that, we don't get a lot of offense. We don't get rewarded for it. And when we do that, we're hard to play against. We spend more time in the offensive zone, and then that's a positive for us.
How do you feel about the second chance opportunities you're getting? Basically, guys, going hard to the net for the rebounds, and do you see that happen? Is that something you'd like to see more?
Yeah, I think you could look at last weekend or our last series as an example of that. Friday night, if you look at our goals, we had a bunch of shots with net front presence and guys, taking away the goalie's eyes and making life difficult for Fair State's goalie. And the second night that wasn't the same. And our play with the puck wasn't great offensively. We were a one and done type team. We'd get in and try to make a move or try to make a play, and it wouldn't go our way, and it'd go the other way. And when we're at our best, we do have second and third chance opportunities. We are taking away the goalie's eyes. We are getting all 5 guys involved in the O-zone, and we had a little bit of that on Saturday, but not near as much as we did on Friday. So that's something that we'll talk about tomorrow and Thursday as we transition to the offensive side of the week.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Best of luck this